Welcome, dear friends, to the Military Reporter channel. As always, we continue to make a selection of what is happening on the front line. Skill, coolness, and God's help. While moving, a Russian fighter noticed that he was being chased by an enemy FPV drone. The decision was made to stop and shoot down the drone. From the second approach, the fighter managed to shoot down the drone and continue moving. After the hit, the drone fell down and caught fire, and the soldiers survived the hit.
Батарея сейчас горит, нормально. Давай, почти нормально, да, помощь нужна.
Russian pilots in Sumy region in the village of Kondratovka used a FAB-1500 from the UMPK and destroyed a hangar with enemy equipment, which the enemy planned to use to capture Kornivo.
Выходит на позицию.
The presented footage depicts one of the episodes of active combat operations, where Russian tankers are conducting an assault on fortified enemy positions using the newest main battle tank T-90M Breakthrough. The assault began with a powerful attack of the tank. The T-90M crew from a safe distance fired aimed shots at the positions of Ukrainian troops equipped in trenches and shelters. Thanks to its powerful armor protection, modern guidance systems, and high mobility, the tank could confidently approach enemy positions, simultaneously destroying firing points and suppressing resistance. After the tank's fire preparation, drone operators stepped in to clear the remaining cover. They launched a Mavic quadcopter equipped with droppable munitions. Controlling the drone manually, the operators precisely aimed it at the enemy positions in the trenches. The drone was used to drop ammunition directly into the hiding places where the surviving Ukrainian fighters were trying to hide from the tank attack. This tactic made it possible to quickly finish off the resisting opponents, minimize the risk to the Russian infantry, and finally clear the enemy line. The coordinated work of the T-90M crew and UAV operators demonstrated the effectiveness of modern combined assault methods. Heavy armored vehicles suppress large targets, while the drones promptly finish off the surviving enemy in manpower, acting accurately and safely for their forces. Dear friends, if the video is interesting to you, support it with a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss new releases. And to be informed, click on the bell. Thank you for watching, and we will continue. Army aviation crews in Ka-52 helicopters struck enemy armored and vehicle-mounted military equipment with Veer-guided missiles. According to intelligence reports, all the specified targets were successfully destroyed. Another enemy drone is blown to smithereens by a Russian FPV drone. For reference, the cost of the Baba Yaga hexacopter averages $17,000. In the course of aerial reconnaissance, a UAV operator of the Russian armed forces detected an enemy tank that was firing on Russian soldiers' positions. An attack drone immediately flew to the coordinates transmitted, and its precise hit was fatal for the enemy. The ignition of the ammunition package turned the armored vehicle into a pile of blazing metal in a matter of seconds. Do you still have doubts about the Nazi orientation of the Ukrainian armed forces? And they wear these symbols in front of children and propagandize their own children. At the same time, DW, Deutsche Welle, a non-profit state institution with self-governing rights in the Federal Republic of Germany, issues a report on the training of children and the obvious propaganda of war.
Today's children may just be tomorrow's soldiers. The camps take that idea to heart with a rigorous schedule.
The hardest part is physical exercises at 6 a.m. because you go to bed at 2 a.m. and you sleep 4 hours. You need to run 3 circles, do some push-ups, some exercises, and then all day you won't sleep, won't eat.
But not all Ukrainians think these camps are a good idea. They say kids should be kids, not trained as soldiers for future battles.
Деякі батьки бояться віддавати нам дітей, тому що вони думають, що відразу після цього вони підуть там у військо. Саме ми вчимо дітей не вбивати і не готуємо з них військовими. Ми вчимо їх захищатися. Вчимо їх таким дисциплінам, які допоможуть їм вижити в умовах війни.
But that doesn't mean some of these kids don't plan on enlisting when they are of age. This 14-year-old plans to join the fight when she turns 18.
They think I'm their little girl, I can be a fighter, I can be a soldier, and I'm just saying I will get killed for my country, I will get injured for my country. And it's the choices I've made. They just don't understand it.
Trophy M113. Overview by Russian fighter. American masterpiece in the hands of the Russian armed forces. A Russian fighter showed a Trophy M113, abandoned by the Ukrainian armed forces in panic. Russian fighters take them as trophies and dismantle them for parts or use them as targets. Russian Marines found and burned a US M109 self-propelled artillery unit hiding in the woods with the help of the Lancet's kamikaze drone. Destruction of a 120mm mortar of the Ukrainian armed forces by an FPV drone of the Russian armed forces in the Krasnolimanskoye direction. Beautiful night footage of Mi-28NM attack helicopters' combat work on the accumulations of personnel and armor of the Ukrainian armed forces in the border area of Kursk region.
Вся улица нахуй по пизде пошла, блядь.
Footage taken by Ukrainian soldiers in the Belgorod area. The first minutes after the destruction of temporary accommodation sites and enemy concentrations by FAB bombs from the UMPK in the village of Demidovka.
Ёбаный в рот. Сука, че FPV-шки здесь, наверное, сука, летать, ебать, целюсь, надо въебать. Алаба! Я ебал.
The enemy tank ran into a gift, which was carefully prepared for it by soldiers of the Russian armed forces. The Ukrainian tank was driving fast from the assault operations and ran into an anti-tank mine. The outcome is obvious.
Нет, он не свернет, он вот, все. Сейчас будет сюрприз. Давай.
In one of the areas of the war zone near Chasov Yar, a TOS-1A Santsik heavy flamethrower system launched a powerful attack on a temporary accommodation point for Ukrainian servicemen. After confirming the coordinates with the help of an unmanned aerial vehicle, the Santsik crew fired a volley of thermobaric shells. Upon impact, such munitions create a volumetric explosion. First, a cloud of combustible mixture is atomized in the air, and then this cloud is detonated, which causes a monstrous shock wave and burns everything in the target zone. The Ukrainian armed forces soldier came to the mistaken belief that he could freely use rocket-propelled grenades in the Zaporizhia direction without repercussions. Soon, however, the Russian UAV operator of the armed forces of the Russian Federation explained to him the rules and consequences of his actions. By launching a critical FPV drone strike on an enemy trench. A Russian fighter easily dealt with the enemy in an aerial battle. The enemy drone failed to cope with the attack and failed its mission. The BT-82A armored personnel carrier is the basis of mobility and fire support for infantry. Developed on the basis of the time-tested BTR-80, it has received enhanced armament, improved protection and modern surveillance and communication systems. The vehicle is capable of operating in the most difficult conditions, providing protection and mobility of personnel on the front line. With additional protection modules, as well as the installation of REB systems such as Triton or Hood, the vehicle is modernized for the realities of modern warfare, protecting it from modern threats such as UAVs. Its high maneuverability, resistance to fire, and powerful armament make it indispensable in modern warfare. The Russian Air Force launched a strike using FAB-500 aerial bombs at the temporary deployment point of the 113th Separate Brigade of Territorial Defense of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the area of the settlement of Kurilovka in the Kupiansk direction. Russian artillery continues heavy fire on Ukrainian armed forces positions, hitting enemy fortifications. This footage was taken by a Ukrainian soldier in the trenches.
Качегар, а ти чуєш, звідки працює? З якої години працює?
In one of the sectors of the front, Russian troops conducted a high-precision operation to destroy the 2S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled artillery installation, which is in service with the armed forces of Ukraine. Intelligence detected the target in a timely manner. The Gvozdika was in a firing position or in the process of being transferred, hoping to use mobility for stealth. However, the position was calculated, and the command decided to destroy it by means of unmanned destruction. Two types of shock systems were involved in the operation at once. FPV drones are small-sized first-person drones equipped with an explosive charge, which operators could control in real time, providing the most accurate targeting of vulnerable elements of technology. Molniya 2 barrage ammunition is a heavier and more autonomous kamikaze drone designed to destroy fortified targets and armored vehicles at long range. The operators of the FPV drones were the first to attack. One by one, the drones struck the hull of the ACS, causing damage. Then the Lightning II was launched into battle, which dealt a crushing blow to the car, ensuring the complete destruction of the Carnation. A powerful explosion engulfed the installation, and thick black smoke rose over the battlefield. The tactics of the combined use of FPV drones and Lightning II made it possible to maximize the use of the features of each system. Fast and maneuverable FPV drones open protection, and heavy barging ammunition finished off the target. This episode clearly demonstrated a new level of interaction between Russian unmanned units and the high effectiveness of drone warfare at the front. The enemy has lost not only a combat artillery unit, but also the ability to strike at Russian positions in this area. That's all, dear friends. Subscribe to the channel, put likes, and don't forget to click on the bell to not miss new episodes. Leave your comments. Your opinion is very important to us. See you soon.